I
You
haven't
ain't
done.
done. You
I
haven't
ain't
done
done
that,
that.
have you?
I haven't
Yeah,
done that in a long time.
yeah.
That
Computers like your body. You got to give it a rest.
that's so old school, and I love it. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. I feel like starting all over and turning this bitch off right now. I'm like, shit, I could have thought of that. I didn't even think. I thought, what you doing, Mike? Rebooting my computer.
Yep.
Let me see you do it. you just turn this bitch off.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me show you this clip. This is from a committee meeting, and I should have waited, but I'm gonna show you this clip, and I'm gonna see. Tell me what your feelings are on this. I'm not even gonna like try and sway the jury. I'm just gonna
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna play it and let you rock with it. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Request, Mr. Chairman, have unanimous consent request.
Proceed.
I'd like to seek unanimous consent to enter into the record this article, and I'll do this as a survivor of sexual violence myself. This is from Courts, March 2018.
Without objection, so ordered.
Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born
Without objection, so ordered. We put it in the record.
I haven't entered it.
You have what?
Mr. Chair, can I have several articles. I need to enter them. Let me just go ahead with what the articles are. What they speak to.
What's the next article?
Let me proceed. Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans commit more rape and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of you
Data
all
from
trying to get
Texas
thrown out of
shows
committee
that
so you can get on
US-born
MSNBC
Americans
is going to
commit
end.
more
We're not
rape.
going to put up with it.
This is
Chair
my
recognizes
procedural
Mr.
right as a
Subramaniam.
member of this committee
You can
to
go.
enter
You
documents
can go with
into the
Mr.
record.
Frost and Mr.
I'm
Green.
reclaiming my time.
That's
you
what
do
you
not
want.
Get to
No.
dictate
Ms. Presley,
how
I've been
I
very.
recite the
I have
articles
been very
for the
accommodating
record.
to you, Mr. Subramaniam.
And I
Start
take
the
particular
clock.
umbrage
Start
as
the
a
clock.
survivor
No, I
of
don't.
sexual violence.
Go.
I will insert
Order.
into the record. This is my right. Thank you.
No. It is Mr. Subramaniam.
Mr. Chair,
No, you know the process of unanimous consent. You are not
I have
recognized.
several articles to enter into the record.
Mr. Subramaniam, if you don't go, we're going to recognize Mr. Timmons.
What? So, listen, man. I guess the unanimous consent that he's talking about, the only person who was against it was him. But you go ahead. You tell me when you see a clip like that, what goes through your mind?
I mean, so I watched it last night, and it's funny. The thing that he didn't want to happen happened because I watched that clip on MSNBC's. Right? It's like it's straight misogyny. It's straight anti-blackness. And so it's funny. It's mad disrespectful. And so I think it's a conversation we need to have about parties. Okay. And I know everybody's talking about getting off the Democratic plantation, and Democrats are worried about corporations. And a lot of that is true. However, the way one party rocks, or way one gang, because they're all gangs, the way one gang rocks versus the other, there's a clear distinction. And that one gang does not rock with black people at all. And just so happens that the black people that do rock with that anti-black gang, they don't rock with black people either. So, you know, we really got to start digging deeper and really starting to understand the political process. Because Joy Reid said something the other day. She said, a lot of people aren't interested in politics, but politics is always interested in you. From the time you're born to the time you die, everything you do has some kind of political sign off. And so black people, people of color that are going to be here, it makes sense to be involved in that process. Because as they say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So.
Oh, God damn. Yeah, this whole... Okay, so yesterday we talked. I had Leah Frazier on here yesterday, and I did watch the State of the Union, or whatever they called it. I don't know what they called it. There was some, I don't know what goes on anymore. I took that
fuckery to the
man. The fuckery, and I got agitated, even though I'm working on this. This is like I told y'all, I wake up early in the morning. I wake up at 5 a.m. to get focused, to be able to. But the State of the Union was at the end of the night. It started late, so I was vulnerable. So I was very vulnerable to the bullshit, and I know we were told not to watch it, but how can I do this show if I didn't watch it? So I
That's
had
your
to.
job. That's your
I,
job.
I had to go back. I had to look. The Knicks were playing the Warriors at the same time. They were losing. I was going back and forth, and I said, "Let me stay here." But I saw Al Green from Texas, Senator Al Green from Texas. Am I saying that correctly? Senator Al Green from
I
Texas,
think he's a congressman.
or congressman from Texas. I saw him start the ruckus, and I was here for it.
But not only just him, it was him and many, many others that walked out.
Right. But I felt that after he was kicked out and escorted out, that these Democrats turned into obedient third graders. Listen, my thing is, and listen, the sign thing, this thing right here, I just don't even like, and maybe it's just me. We're either going to be 100% disruptive, and I watched the State of the Union when people yelled out Obama was a liar. I watched Joe Biden get booed. I didn't see anybody get escorted out. So if that's the case, you know what's about to happen for historically 2 hours, because he broke the record. Because once he gets going on the lies, he don't stop. I don't understand why they just didn't walk. Why'd you sit there? Because and before I let you, I just want to just say this, and I know y'all get tired of me saying this. If this is as crucial as you're telling me, if this is a moment in history that could change everything in a way that could affect us, everybody, if we are in this much danger, then there has to be dread. I know nothing's going to change. I know a law isn't going to change. I know nothing's going to change you walking out. But it will. You have to be able to spark the emotion of this country. So there are people who, when they see that, will say, "Oh, this shit. Oh, they're really for us. That they're really for us." And it just irritated me, because my thing is, just being on somebody who's been on TV and radio. I know if you all walk out aisle after aisle,
it's a problem.
It's a problem, and I know these networks, even though that they're not the first responders, but we go to them. These networks have to make a decision. When they walk out and our reporters are there, do we go to them live to see what's going on? Which means that interrupts the broadcast, which is what this narcissist really bothers him. That really bothers him. Because they were even reporters out there when Al went, and I played the portion, when Congressman Al Green came out, there were reporters who went directly to him and started interviewing him. If everybody leaves, you cause a ruckus and you take this attention and you show people how this is what we have to do. Now, maybe that's just me.
I mean, I think we agreed upon this before. The Democratic Party needs to hire Plies. They need to hire Plies for their communications and strategy, because they don't get it. And many of them are not in touch with the people. I mean, that's true. Now, I will say this. There's a congressman out of Philadelphia who I won't say grew up with, but he's been in politics all my life.
Right.
Dwight Evans, you probably remember him. Started as a state rep, now he's congressman down in D.C. And I asked him years ago, I said, why don't Democrats take up some of the tactics that the Republicans do? And he said, and it made sense. They're not the same people. They're different. And it was, and when you really look at what's going on, I kind of get it. Now, you and I are frustrated on the side because we're like, damn it, they swing back.
Facts. Thank you. Yes, that's where it is. That's where it is. Where it is.
Oh, mild-mannered, timid, I don't want to call them timid, but mild-mannered people who don't swing at all. And that's what the Democrats are a lot of times. Now, again, there's multiple layers to this, because a lot of times they'll do certain things in the dark that will benefit their own personal interests.
Facts.
So
Facts.
It's very nuanced. It's very nuanced. But I'm with you, Mike. They should be like the Republican Party when Obama first got elected in 08, 09. Mitch McConnell said this will be a one-term president. Now, they failed in that because the Republicans were so bad prior to. However, they did everything to block it. And he still got through monumental legislation. He still got through healthcare. And people were like, well, Obama should have done more. How could he? And that's where paying attention really comes into play.
Sign a bunch of executive orders.
Yeah, but don't just take my word for it, right? Don't take Mike's word for it. We need y'all to be researchers. We need y'all to look this shit up and check us if we're wrong also. Because what that does is that makes everybody more informed. And iron sharpens iron.
No, those are facts. And when you said that, Mitch McConnell, is that who you said?
Yeah, I believe it was Mitch McConnell.
All right, this is all right. Two things. Let me write this down. This is so it's gonna sound so simplistic, but I'm sorry. I'm always 1 + 1 = 2. The Democrats remind me of people who know they're part of a corrupt system, right? But somebody has come in here and taken the corruption and gone to a level they didn't. Nobody was supposed to go.
That's a fact.
Right? So he took it, Donald Trump took it somewhere nobody was supposed to go. And they know in order to fight him properly, what we have to do is basically expose this whole system.
Yes and no.
So they got to go like this. They want to throw rocks, but they don't want to throw too many because they're scared that he may say this and it will force them to answer the question with something that America's going to go, what the fuck? That's what goes on? Even though we know what goes on, a lot of us know what goes on. So they can't rock the boat too much because at the end of the day, as much as they despise what he's doing, they still financially and in their power benefit from this system that they never want to be exposed fully. So they go like, what he's doing is wrong. Yes. It's almost like they're only mad because what Donald Trump has done is expose how corrupt this system is. That's my opinion. That's why they're mad. That's why a lot of these people there are mad.
I mean, maybe. But what I'll say is, going back to that conversation I had with Dwight Evans, they're two different people. Democrats tend to like to govern, like actually do the work, air quotes. Republicans like to blow V8. They just like to talk shit. And cause disruption and cause mayhem and only work for their interests. And why is that important? Because if you're not passing any bills, if you're not doing anything, it doesn't help the people, which this is supposed to be about. The people get forward and advance. Now we're talking about cutting staff at the IRS. Well, everybody's like, well, fuck the IRS. They're terrible. Okay, cool. How does your school get paid for? How do your roads get paid for? How do your firefighters get paid for? How do your police officers get paid for? Oh, yeah, that thing called water that gets to your house. How did that get there? How does that stay there? Anytime there's a natural disaster, lights go out, gas goes out. How does that get fixed? Taxes play a part in all that. And then and I know they're going to say, I'm caping for the man. I'm an op working for the people. I get it. But what happens when you need these things? So nobody realized that the system benefits everybody, but it only works if you are participating in it. So,
and this is and let's be clear. And somebody put a post up, and I'm not going to mention the person's name because it was very misleading, and put a post up about Bill Clinton because Bill Clinton did cut jobs. He did cut federal jobs, but it's very misleading. Because all you hear is the first sentence and you don't hear everything else that he was doing for small businesses and what he was doing for people in middle class incomes and stuff like that. But that's beside the point. Let me get to this. This is why I've always said since John McCain was the last person I've ever saw be a bipartisan principle and do something that was about the good of the people. This is why the system is so fucked up. McConnell, what you said, literally said, the president that America chose to be the president, his job is to make sure that he's a one-term president. So what he said, what the system is based on is, even if you win by a landslide, the other party's job is to make it as difficult as possible for the person who ran to actually accomplish what he told you he was going to accomplish. The American people say, we want you to accomplish it. And then the other party's job is to stop that president from actually accomplishing what the people just said that they want, what they voted for.
No.
That system makes no sense.
That's what's happening right now, but that's not their job. Their job is to work for the American people.
No, absolutely.
But you got to put that out there, Mike, because people will run with these narratives and they won't go back to the basics. The basics are all elected officials work for the people, whether they're Democrat, Republican, green, yellow, red party, who gives a shit? If you are not able to work, and listen, we understand people will have different views, but if you're not able to work for the betterment of the people, you shouldn't be in office. But sadly, people keep electing these assholes and dummies with reckless abandon, and this is why we have what we have.
And that's why I bring up John McCain, who was the last person, maybe the last person we'll ever see that had a final vote to overturn Obamacare, but his common sense said, this dude don't have a plan. It was just a common sense. He was like, he don't have a plan to change it.
That's why Trump hated him.
And he said, I can't vote for that. Now, that is such common sense. If you ain't got a plan, I can't go with you. Because this plan is actually helping people. It may not be perfect because there's no plan that's perfect, but now it is turned into sports. Republicans are the Cowboys, for a lack of a better term. The Democrats are the Eagles.
There we go.
And they stand. And I'm like, I'm watching you guys use the same mentality as a damn football fan to, no matter what. The fact that they passed the budget, they know. They know this is going to be a disaster.
Yes. But that's what they did last time. But again, nobody tracks the record. So as the deficit goes up, because tax revenue is down, they don't care. They just want to try to grow the economy and pray and hope that it'll just all work out.
And Maxine Waters, she said, the poor lady is, what is she, 80 something? And says, y'all better hit the street. We have to hit the street. I'm sitting there going, this lady's 80. Like, I don't even know. I don't know enough about Jeffries. I know he probably wasn't a good look for Hakeem Jeffries to actually do a book tour right now. I listen. The optics on that. The optics on that. I couldn't. Okay, I'm trying to listen. I want to have some fun, and I did want to have some fun, but I can't because a young man is killed pledging.
Recently, I didn't know that. Jeez.
Oh, you didn't hear about Caleb Williams?
No, I didn't. Oh, my God.
Oh my God! I can't believe you didn't hear about this. So, the story began that they were off campus. And he was online and he collapsed. And that was the story that was given. And, obviously, if you say somebody collapsed, there could be a multitude of things that could be. You could collapse. It could be, it went into a seizure. It could be 100 different things. I thought you had heard about this. Well, then after that, he was pledging whatever the cues are. And please, y'all, for my ignorance, I've never been part of it. I don't know.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, Omega Sci-Fi. Let me see if I can then get you caught up to speed on this.
No, I'm looking at it now. The family of a 20-year-old college junior who reportedly died while participating in a college fraternity hazing ritual wants answers.
Yeah. So listen, so it all starts off with he collapsed. That's the story. He's rushed to the hospital. He collapsed. Boom. Then this story breaks out afterwards. The next day.
Update from Southern University following the death of the student named Caleb Wilson. University leaders issued a statement in the last half hour condemning hazing and saying it will not be tolerated. And this all stems from their internal investigation into Wilson's death. The WFBI team also uncovered new information tied to this case. Sources with direct knowledge of the investigation tell the I-Team Caleb Wilson was punched before he collapsed just last week. Those sources say the story that fraternity members told to police officers about his death happening at a Breck Park, well, that was fabricated. Sources said pledges with Omega Psi were actually at a warehouse in Baton Rouge when Wilson was punched in the chest and collapsed during an unsanctioned fraternity ritual. He was later pronounced dead by doctors at an area hospital. The hospital contacted Baton Rouge police, which launched an investigation. This is a developing story, and we'll post any updates we get on WFB.com. Southern University will be holding a candlelight vigil tomorrow evening for Caleb Wilson. That will begin at 5 on the lawn in front of Isaac Greg's Band Hall.
That's sad. That's so sad.
So, listen, I'm not part of that life. I performed on probably 50 different college campuses, and I've hung out in there, and I've known enough about sororities and fraternities to know what to joke about and what not to joke about. I knew to hang out. The first time I was in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, I was in a college. They said, we're going to take you to the yard. And I didn't know what the yard was. I thought we were going to a place with a lot of grass, and it was going to be a yard. And and that's the first time I saw somebody step. That was the first time that was the first time I was introduced. Didn't know that. And after that, I learned that you go on these college campuses, you find what sorority or what fraternity is the one that's really running it, which one is the powerhouse, and you can do your first 10 minutes on joking about the other ones because you know they're going to support you. And I kept it lighthearted. I found out which the stereotype of sororities that are the cute ones, the ones that are the stereotype that aren't the cute ones, and you give me 15 minutes of that and let a 27-year-old motherfucker get on stage, and I'm going to kill. Every time. And I just had to do a little research and it was off to the races.
That sounds like an episode of School Days, just a comedic version.
Yes, that's basically what it was. But in all seriousness now, I started, people have started giving their opinions. And really, I think anybody should be allowed to give an opinion on this, obviously. But I'm more interested on people who are actually involved. That's why I would like to have Aaron Smith on here. Because you aren't part of a fraternity or anything, right?
No, I'm not.
So
what's Dr. Aaron? I didn't know he was
Yeah, he's definitely one thing, him and Mo. They're definitely big advocates. Let me be careful before I say advocates. They're definitely, because I don't know what their feelings are on it right now. So we have people speaking out. This woman is a Delta, and she came out, and and she comes out and she says this, and I know what a probate is, but I'm not the one on the lingo. But she comes out and says this.
So we'll never have a probate, but you in my comments fighting for your life and holding on to the fact that you should have yours. Just mad, sounding like petulant toddlers, arguing with yourself, because who you arguing with? Not me. Fighting for your right to do what? To probate, stroll, step, wear para, be out. Well, yeah, I'm so sorry that happened to him, but that's not me. I should have the right. It's not fair. It's not fair. I should have the right to probate. Man. Hell no, I'm not denouncing. I'm a Delta, and I will be one until the day I die. It's a lifetime commitment. I worked hard for them letters, baby. But you know what else I get to do? I get to criticize the organization. When I see things going right, left, up, down, iron sharpens iron. I have the right to do that. I earned the right to do that. So, no. There will be no denouncement, honey. I'm a Delta, and I'm going to be a Delta until. Do you hear yourselves? You sound absolutely insane. And the fact that it's been crickets from the other D9 organizations, I mean at the national level, because I checked, not a word, except from the official page of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated over on Instagram, where they've cut off the comments. I've heard absolutely nothing. I mean, we, sorors, have you gotten an email? Condolences to the family? Any kind of notification? What? Like, y'all have nothing to say? Caleb Wilson will never have probate. But you are actively fighting for your right to have yours. Okay.
So, Mike, probate is the event where they all finish up and they cross over.
Yeah. So
It's sad. It's sad. It's so sad. This young
listen,
man's life was taken. He was a junior. Clearly, he was doing his thing. That's sad.
but and then it goes further into somebody. Listen, I'm going to be fair because I'm being too nice right now. I'm being too nice because I love the people who are part of my life, who are actually part of these organizations. Somebody got to go to prison. Somebody got to go to prison because somebody just got a phone call. Some parents got a phone call that their 20-year-old who is excelling in life just got killed being trying to be a part of your organization. Somebody got to go to prison. And I don't mean just the person who punched him in the chest. And now, since we really want to get into it, I don't believe he just got punched in the chest.
Correct.
So an organization that and this is just not black fraternities, organizations that are allowed to be on college campuses. Now, hazing is illegal, but allowed to have something called a secret rituals. That shouldn't happen. I don't pay a tuition or do whatever I have to do to get you to college for you to take part in a secret ritual. Organizations because there has to be a mandate that gets sent down.
Well, I mean, people have been sent to prison before for hazing incidents. One recently just happened in Penn State later last year for something similar. But yeah, it's sad, man. I agree with you, Mike. It's funny. Roland Martin talks about this a lot. Everybody know Roland is a alpha, and he says he's not down with hazing. And I think we have to ask the question. And again, I'm not affiliated.
Right.
I'm not qualified, but as a human being, as a member of the black community, we got to ask ourselves, in 2025, does hazing really work? Is it still needed? I mean, I get it. You got to test people to make sure they are certain caliber, but does it always have to be physical? Does it always have to be something that's going to potentially kill you? Because this happens a lot, or has happened a lot over the years.
Come on, Doug. Once again, my when I analyze something, it's very basic. A brother. If my brother, I have a sister, but if my brother in my family, if my brother punches me in my face, I am supposed to punch him back. That's what brothers do. And if we're outside and somebody punches my brother in the face, I'm supposed to punch the person who punched him in the face. I know that's very primitive, very basic.
But it's not.
We ride out. That's it. This is us. This is, now, I know there are brothers who go through whatever they go through. But challenging me to do something simply because I want to be a part of this, I don't see how that creates the loyalty. Now, once again, there is massive background behind this. There is massive history behind this that I am naive to. But this is something that I've never wanted to be part of a group. This is why my whole life, I said it yesterday, I've always created my groups. From being on radio, I've always created the Takeover Legends. Your loyalty was shown to me by your actions. I didn't put you through nothing. If you were loyal to me, you were loyal to me. If you weren't, that was your choice. And the people who wound up being part of that have been friends with me now for over 25 years. But not because I said, hey, you got to do this to be down with this. I was like, if you want to, we got you. If you don't, you don't have to. And I know that's basic. And I know when I get people on here, which I want to, hopefully Dr. Smith will get on here, he can explain in more detail what it is and what's the meaning behind it. Because I'll be honest, I just don't understand it. If you allow me to punch you in your face from my upbringing and you don't do nothing, I really don't want you around me.
I'm sorry, I don't have much to say, Mike. It's sad. I mean, I again, I agree with everything you said. I think I'm thinking the same way about it as you. Again, you may do certain things with your siblings growing up, right? But these are young men. These are not toddlers. These are not people that are in adolescence. These are adult men. And so is this the only way you learn how to deal with things? And again, I'm not qualified to really talk about
Right,
this.
yeah, and I know, and me either. But I'm qualified to know that somebody got to go to prison, and it can't just be one person. Because if I do something with somebody and I commit a crime and I was actively a part of it and I didn't pull the trigger, I'm getting something.
They were all accessories to some degree.
To some degree.
Right.
Now, one gentleman, and I played it, we had Leah Frazier on here, and she's a lawyer, and she thought this was pushing the envelope too far, and maybe I can't find it. I'm gonna take an attempt and see if this is it. I'm not sure.
Before I go any further,
No, he's actually he's a frat member. Maybe I should play him, but so it was before that. And I try and be detailed when I title these because I don't want to go through this. Regrets, that was yesterday. Regrets, Jasmine, woman regrets, Beyonce, Black man speaks. All right, let's see if this is the one right here.
Together and
No,
laugh.
I played her. Sorry. I'm gonna try one more time, y'all. Then we're gonna move on because I want to get this Anthony Edwards situation and see what your opinion is on NBA star Anthony Edwards. And let me see. Drink Club. I don't know. Maybe this is it.
Well, once again,
Right here.
rest in peace to the young brother Caleb Wilson, who tragically lost his life pledging for Omega Psi Phi. So here's the $1 million question. Since some of these fraternities and their chapters want to act like gang, since they want to act like gang, and now you actually have people dying pledging for these fraternities, will we see the first ever fraternity RICO?
That's a good point.
I'll say this again slowly for the internets. Since some of these fraternities and D9 organizations and sororities want to act like gang, and people are being abused, and there's actually rumors of sexual assault,
Crazy.
and some people are dying, will we see the first ever fraternity or sorority RICO that starts putting these organization chapters in jail? Because something has to happen if y'all don't want to tell the rituals, because it's a secret society, and you know the top level people, who's coming out of pocket for this chapter.
Yeah.
Because again, I understand there's chapters in each organization. Is this chapter going to get shut down?
No.
Like somebody died from a ritual. What's going to be the accountability out of this?
All right, your thoughts on that?
I think that's legitimate logic. I mean, listen, if we start operating on logic, a lot of things will be a lot simpler.
Comment.
But people don't want to operate off logic.
A genius is somebody's mastered common sense. That's that I've been saying that for years.
That is true.
And I haven't mastered it yet.
That is true.
So,
I mean, but that's definitely an interesting take. That's an interesting take, and I mean that's why a lot of that frats and sororities lose their chapters on these campuses because of pledging. A lot of times because of hazing. So this goes beyond the campus, though, to the actual organization. So I think those are legitimate questions.
And Leah broke it down. So she broke it down on why it couldn't be. But some of the things she brought up was, crossing state lines and stuff. And I'm like, a lot of these kids aren't residents of that state. And there is, when it comes to finance. So I don't know. I don't know. It is an organization. They've made that clear. So I don't know. and she made sense of what she was saying. So hopefully Dr. Aaron Smith will get on here. He'll be able to get on here. If not, if he doesn't make it on here, we'll get him on here at some point to talk about it. If he wants to talk about it. He may not want to talk about it because I you know, certain situations you have to fall back and not talk about it. Okay, so Anthony Edwards, NBA superstar, he celebrated his birthday with one of his children. And I didn't understand. I said, well, what's the big deal? This celebration. It seemed pretty innocent to me. Like I didn't know that this would open up a can of worms, but this is a little bit of celebration.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Now that's simple, right?
Seems simple to me.
What could possibly be what outrage could the internet
You know that's a trick question, right?
Yeah.
What outraged the internet? The internet will outrage over absolutely nothing. Over a raindrop.
well, obviously Anthony Edwards is caught up in a situation. We did the story where he got a woman pregnant. She had the baby, and she released the text messages of him trying to convince her to have an abortion. And he told her if she has the baby, this child will be fatherless. I will have nothing to do with the baby. So it went further. The blessing is born, healthy. And Anthony Edwards decided he was going to double down. I told you this child's going to be fatherless. And he put his, you know what? Everybody have mental patience. Everybody have mental patience. This is the long breakdown of Anthony Edwards. Everybody have mental stamina right now. Mental stamina. I'll give you a break in the middle.
When Anthony Edwards is sitting down for his 30 for 30 interview on ESPN, I want to make sure that people don't forget how he treated his children at birth.
Shout out to In Touch Weekly because they're giving us an update on Anthony Edwards and Aisha Howard's paternity case. In Touch Weekly is stating that Anthony Edwards' attorneys had scored a big win in their motion filed in the Los Angeles County Clerk of Courts. Now, the court granted a motion brought by Anthony where he had argued that California was the wrong state to determine child support for their daughter, Aubrey Howard, who was born in October of 2024. Just for reference, the reason why that motion was filed in the state of California is because California doesn't have a cap on child support, but states like Georgia do. So if Aisha would have been able to retain her case in California, well, there'd be no cap on how much child support she could get for that child. Now, Anthony alleged that Aisha...
All right, let's stop right there. Now, listen, y'all. We know what that's hitting for. And she knows what she's doing. She has a baby with Lil Baby, the rapper Lil Baby. I think so. I think that's what. So she moved because she goes to LA. There's no cap. Like, I can't and I don't mean no cap and no lies. I mean no cap as in no cap. I mean no cap. Like cap, you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's go.
She lived in Georgia despite her claim in court that she moved to California before giving birth to Aubrey. Aubrey was born in California, and Anthony claimed that Aisha delivered the child in LA and filed her case in California in an attempt to score higher child support from him. And Anthony's lawyers argued that what she had done was unjustifiable and a bad faith attempt to obtain a higher child support order. Aisha's conduct of manufacturing a false reality and using the party's child for financial gains should not be tolerated. The judge ruled that California lacked jurisdiction regarding child support, which means the decision will likely go to the judge presiding over Anthony's case in Georgia. The LA judge did set a hearing for March 20th, so that's coming up pretty soon, to determine if custody and visitation of Aubrey will be set by California courts. Anthony wrote in his declaration to the judge that Aisha and I have one minor child together, Aubrey Howard. Paternity was recently established through DNA testing. I am not seeking custody or visitation of Aubrey. Therefore, the only issue to resolve is financial in nature.
All right. So he put it out there. He told her in the text messages, I'm not seeing the kid. I'm not going to be in the kid's life. I'm not doing nothing. And then he doubled down when the baby is born. And now we're starting to see why people are hating on the birthday video, because you got to start wondering, are you putting this birthday video with an agenda to basically put out there that this is my kid? Now, in true male and female fashion, a man jumped in and decided to give the short version of the rundown, because that's what normally happens. Women don't get mad at me.
Little baby's baby mama, Aisha Howard, groomed this man. She's down there 40 years old. He's 23.
She's 40,
And if
he's
the
23.
situation was reversed, I will have a lot of women on TikTok saying that he groomed her. She knew what she was doing. She's old enough to know what she was doing. He just wanted to smash. She was looking for another payday. And this is what happens time and time again. She had a baby, a little baby. That kid is getting older. She needs to keep trying to fund the lifestyle. So what does she do? She seeks out someone else to give her another payday. And now she's upset that he doesn't want to have anything to do with the baby, doesn't want custody or visitation rights. He said in court, the only thing that we got to sort out is the money. And here's the thing on the money. These new NBA players, and he's managed by Rich Paul, LeBron's agent. So they got this covered. What they will do is take $1 million, put it in a non-taxable annuity or some other type of investment entity. And they will use the money made off of that $1 million to pay the baby mama and to pay the child support for however long it needs to be, 18 years, whatever. So he doesn't really lose any money. He's using his money, which he would have had to pay taxes on anyway, put it in an annuity or some other type of investment tool, and the interest earned from that money pays her. He really doesn't want to be a father and deal with her. That's a challenge in our community.
All right. The tax thing, is that right? The annuity, is that correct? That this is why when I saw it, I said, get him on the show. Is that true? You just put it there and you go.
It can be. It depends on how it's set up. But usually no. It's not like that. But the overall idea is you take a lump sum of money, you put it to the side, you put it into an investment vehicle. Said investment vehicle shoots off income or dividends to pay an income or child support to baby mama. Yes, you can do that. You can do that. Taxation is going to be judged on how it's set up, though. But there are ways to do it.
Okay, now, to morally, Anthony Edwards decides, like, he actually told her to get an abortion in a text message. Listen, I'm gonna keep it 100. Been there. And now you have a child, and at the end of that, he says, "This is a problem in our community." What type of problem is this?
Well, let's back up.
Okay, let's back up.
Because Aisha Howard also released some screenshots of DMs of him pursuing her back in 2022.
Yeah.
So she was like, this narrative that it was a one-night stand, that she pursued him, is not true. He pursued her. He chose her. He knew what went along with that. He shot up the club. I mean, listen, actions have repercussions. I'm a former single father. I really don't have any sympathy for him. He wants to be a young, reckless young man with a bunch of money.
Right.
God bless him. God bless him. She's a good-looking sister. God bless him. Now, to your point, Mike, there's a lot of men who get scared to the prospect of becoming a father. I don't think we talk about that enough. And when people get scared and they get in their emotions, they do crazy things. But it's also his right to change his mind and then decide to be a good father. So I don't know, Mike. I don't have that. I don't have that for it.
And I know it's difficult, but I say this. I say this. I was programmed to, as a young man, and I'm saying this is personal, I was programmed to do the shit I want to do and get away with it. That's how I was programmed.
I mean, that's the American way.
Yeah, do what I want to do, enjoy what I want to do, and get away with it. And I would just give this piece of advice to Anthony Edwards. I can almost tell you with almost certainty, young man, that you will regret not being a part of this child's life if you're a human being. Somewhere down the line.
Unless he's Karl Malone.
Unless he's Karl Malone, because there are exceptions to the rule. Somewhere down the line, this 15-year-old, the 17-year-old, this 20-year-old, when you are no longer the shit, You'll still have money, but you are no longer that dude. You are no longer recognized everywhere you go. One day you will be by yourself and you will reminisce on what type, I'm not saying as a person, but what type of piece of shit move you made.
But I mean, he's choosing to be in the baby's life, right? Or did I miss
No,
that?
he's not. He's adamant. He's not going to be in her life. He wants no visitation. He wants.
So that birthday party wasn't the baby. That was
No,
that
that's
was another
his
one.
baby with his girl. So when
okay.
So when you post that, and you know your lawyer is now doubling down, saying I don't want anything to do with this child, but you post you celebrating this child's birthday. I promise you from experience, God ain't do this to you. I don't blame God for anything, but I promise you the road you're going down is going to get very active at some point on reacting to your actions. I don't blame bad things that happen to me on God.
But everybody does.
Yeah, everybody does.
God, why you let them do this to me?
And people say God does it to give you a lesson. No, God says it's your choice. And listen, people, don't quote me on no Bible scriptures, God, I don't know nothing. I'm just going by my personal experience. God said you can make a lot of money and you can not drink and you can go down this road. And then God said, or he's like, whatever road you can choose to run them streets and blackout drink. I'm here. I'm here whenever you want to come back. Whenever you want to come back.
Good morning, y'all. Welcome to Michael Sean's Thursday Bible Study.
Yeah, Thursday Bible Study. But I'm telling you, call it whatever you want. Your actions always have a reaction. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a moment when that girl confronts you who did nothing to you. And she comes to you and she asks you why. All of a sudden, all your justifications on how your mom was a hoe and your mom was trapping me, all of a sudden, that is going to sound so ridiculous because she's going to look at you and say, I had nothing to do with that.
Correct. And you had everything to do with that.
And you had everything to do with it.
And so if the facts are laid out and presented the way you said he's not being with the child, then he's a piece of shit. Flat out. I hate men who don't take care of their responsibilities, i.e. their children, because they are really killing our community. And again, a lot of emotions go into when men, young boys, are soon to be fathers and they say some dumb stuff. However, the bottom line is, did you show up for work or not? There's a lot of people on Sunday night are like, damn, I hate this job. I'm not going.
Mm-hmm.
But they said, I got a responsibility come Monday morning, 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. They checking in. 9 to 5, they checking in. That's their responsibility. They showed up. You have to show up. So I really don't have anything else, Mike. I'm sorry.
And the worst, and this is the worst part, is, and this is not a justification on any of this. If you're telling me you're distraught because of the millions that you have to pay out, but that's already taken care of. That's already taken care of.
But money shouldn't be the focus, in my opinion. I know it always becomes the focus. The question is, and what you brought it up, Mike, what's going to happen to the child? Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'll share this personally, right? So my father recently passed. And I'm still mad about it. And part of the reason I'm mad is because when my mother and father broke up, I always felt like they used me as a pawn. Because they didn't talk. They didn't talk. And they did a lot of things that made my life hell. I think the last picture I have of my parents together, and I know this is all trivial stuff.
No, it's not. No, it's definitely not. No, it's not.
But us together was like when I was 12. But at the end of the day, I had nothing to do with this.
Nothing.
And y'all created me. So y'all should have sat y'all monkey asses down and said, hey, what about Kamari? And so the same thing, like you said, Mike, what about this baby? Doesn't matter if he trapped her, she trapped him, and then he's going to pay. And that's a heavy toll. That's a heavy toll.
And that is what you just said is the realest thing ever. I don't care what your beef is. Yep. And that's why I've done my best ever to try and say this had whatever feelings I may have to a co-parent, to make sure that opinion never is said to the child, because they have nothing to do with this. Ain't got nothing to do with it. But and then the other thing, guys will be like, yeah, she trapped him. She trapped him. She said no, she didn't.
She made him shoot it up wrong.
Yeah, she made him. No, you wanted to. You wanted to deal with somebody. Yeah, if she was damn near 40, you wanted to deal with her. You knew what it was. So in this weird, because it's a disgusting game that goes on in these streets, in these entertainment streets, and all of it is entertainment. Comedy, entertainment, sports is entertainment, everything. In these streets, ain't nobody got no. If she knows there's a check connected to you, and you knew she was little baby's, the rapper's baby mom.
It's funny, Cameron talks about this. He was like, why do y'all go after other people's women? It's so weird. And by the way, let me do this real quick, Mike. I brought up my dad's passing. Thank you, Miss Parker, for your condolences. My dad was a good dad, right? So I just, before, I don't want to put this negative energy out in the air on my dad because he can't defend himself. Who is that? I don't know who she is.
LaShawn said she was trying to follow Chavez, laugh out loud, get another payday. LaShawn also said they both have a choice. Why is he any less than hers? They're both at fault and acted irresponsibly.
That's true.
Lady Q said Chavez doesn't have any of her baby daddies on support. She played her hand smart by being the fave baby mom. That's the Bow Wow. She got 3 celebrity baby dads. She's getting more out of them. They'll need to reach their course. I guess make a course, because none of her baby dads, I don't know, talk bad about her. No, they don't talk bad about her. Good morning, Lady Q. What's going on?
Good morning.
Teach a course. Okay, teach a course. I just want people to have safe sex. All this raw stuff is unsanitary and problematic. Yeah.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. History says that's not going to happen.
Good. Yeah. And listen. There was a virus in the 90s called AIDS going around.
80s.
In the 80s. I saw it up front and personal. And now. But I'm telling you, I have 2 family members who contracted it back to back. Back to back. My favorite uncle ever. And I shouldn't say, because both my uncles, they were both my favorites. Just that my one uncle, we hung out a lot together. One contracted it from heroin. Another one contracted it to do unsafe sex, and he's gay. So we had the whole spectrum. To tell you how powerful this is, after that, I was young when that happened. I was 16. After that, I still rolled the dice. And I saw it in my face. I watched how mentally crippling it was from my Uncle Frankie and how physically crippling it was from Mingo, because it affects people differently on what is going to tear apart. Obviously, the body's going to go, but some people's mind just goes.
Unless you got Magic's money.
Unless you got Magic's money, which there's a whole story behind that I'm not going to get into. Especially if they don't want you to be with each other and have a family. And y'all laughed at me when I said every player who gets drafted by the NFL or the NBA should be required to get a vasectomy. And y'all laughed because you can reverse that. I said every one of them. If I was their agent, I said, get this vasectomy right now. Free will. What else we got? I'm going to bring Dr. Smith is about to come on here. Sorry for your loss. Y'all saw that. Bow Wow Future. Oh, yeah. Bow Wow Future and another athlete. Listen, the girl seems to be a cool girl. I can't holler at you after that. And I understand if you can't holler at me off the bodies I got.
Yeah, but dudes don't care about that. Dudes don't care more so than women.
I'm good. He wants nothing to do with the child. The judge is going to really nail him to the wall. Cam Newton is complaining about not being able to do for his kids now. He's out of the NFL. No planning. I can't. Did I pick the wrong profession? Is being a celebrity baby mom a career? Well, there it is a career for a lot of people. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me bring him in. You heard him here last week. Good friend of mine. He's a professor. He's more talented than me. God damn it. He just here. What up?
Y'all brought me at the wrong time.
I know.
In the building.
You talking about child support? You gonna trigger me first thing in the morning? I'm in the mix, Mike. I'm in the eye of the storm right now. I'm listening to the conversation. I'm like, yeah. Sorry for your loss of child support. I said, oh, dang, yeah. I said, him too. I can't escape it, Mike. I just went to the hearing officer, and then after I went to the hearing officer, I was, doing some research, and the first thing the guy said was, never talk to the hearing officer. I said, now he tell me. I'm doing an appeal. That's what I got the hearing officer. They railroaded me like I was Tiger Woods, and they gave me some crazy number. I literally said in the hearing, if I have any rights, to exercise, I'd like to have this, heard at a later date. The hearing officer starts getting tough. Right. So me, not being, I guess as familiar with the process, I tell her straight up, don't get tough. I probably shouldn't have said that,
that wasn't a good.
I've said many times, I got in trouble for this often. I say, if you're not going to talk to me like that outside, don't talk to me like that. Whatever tone of voice you would have on Broad Street, on Berks, and whatever tone of voice you would have at 10 o'clock at night when you see me is the only tone of voice you're allowed to have. Keyboard, I've always stood on that, and everybody always says that that's not a good thing, but I can't escape that because I'm looking at people like, I know you wouldn't talk to me like this. Matter of fact, if we were in an elevator, you'd be clutching your purse and looking the other way. But now you got a title, and you're like, Mr. Smith. I literally said to the lady, I said, hearing's in your title. Maybe you should listen. I thought that was hilarious.
No. Stop right there.
This man did a whole stand-up set.
No. Wait a second. Wait, you did that to the. Do that. Wow.
He want all the smoke. He wants all the smoke.
Mike, she was like, I'm gonna do this. You got 5 minutes. So literally at one point I said, I'm paying my attorney all this money, first of all. They never let you talk half the time in the waiting room. So by the time they bring me on an hour later, I'm already fired up. Because I'm thinking, how y'all talking about my life without me? So I say, put me in the waiting room with my lawyer, right? I'm talking like Kanye in the deposition. Put me in the waiting room with my lawyer. Everything but boy, right? So I get with the lawyer, but I'm not aware that everybody's getting paid for me. So the lawyer is smoothing it out. Come on, Aaron. If you don't do this, and I'm always thinking, whose side are you on, bro? Right? But you can't say that because that's only two people there, unless I'm going to my ex-wife for help. That ain't right. So I'd rather them. So long story short, they were like, you got to give $2,000 a month, and you owe $10,000 in back pay arrears. I'm sitting there like, so then they asked me to raise my hand at the end, and they're like, do you agree? And this is where it went left. Because I was like, I don't agree. And I said, if you can do this without me, then go ahead and give me whatever you can give me and I'll comply. But if you need my consent, if this is in any way voluntary, then I don't agree and we should postpone this till we can have more, whatever. So long story short, I learned that you should never talk to the hearing officer. And what you should say is that I would rather have this matter heard by a support master or a judge. And then just plead the fifth on all the testimony. Don't say nothing to the hearing officer. Just say, I want this matter seen, in court because I have the right to have that. You're not even a judge. This is, it's an administrative process. And the fact that she was saying that I got to give $2,000 a month and then owe like $10,000 in back pay when I'm always paying anyway, the healthcare, braces, tutoring, I pay everything basically. And they were trying to break you. And I understood why people get in these headlines. When I see guys make headlines and snap out, right. I have a pretty good job. But if I didn't, I could see how somebody could be like, you know what? if my life ain't going to be good, nobody needs to have a life. And I see those crash outs happen, and I'm like, the court really needs to be, revamped. And the one thing that I've seen in this administration, aside from cryptocurrency, is the fact that there are some advocates for men's rights when it comes to things like DNA tests and child support. But I'm fighting, so I'm gonna do a de novo appeal, and then after that, I'm gonna do, I guess, what my dad and everybody else does. I'm gonna stop. My contract ends in June, so I'm just gonna not work for a while so that I can modify the payments. And it's sad that people have to do that. It's like the girls that end up doing hair so they don't lose their welfare. And if you end up working too much, they penalize you. It's the same way with guys and child support. So if I just go and get another great 6-figure job, they're going to say you owe $2,500 a month and take 70% of my money, even though I have the kids 50-50. And they were trying to reward her for not allowing me to see the kids. So I have 50-50, but I don't see the kids 50-50. They tried to factor that in and say, well, she got primary custody. I said, well, she shouldn't. The court said 50-50. So she basically kidnapping the kids, not letting me see the kids. And they were going to reward her for it, be like, well, you owe this back money because she kept the kids. And I said to my lawyer, the other way around, you'd be calling the police on me if I kept the kids an hour after my designated visit. How's she going to be compensated? I said, no, we're going to court about this. Now, this is just last week. Like, I'm literally going to contact the lawyer today and be like, we need to appeal this because we have 20 days. And then I got to go to custody and file for contempt. I mean, when you talk about a lopsided, unfair process, I've always been try to see both sides. Men are getting done so dirty that I think it's affecting female and male relationships in the community. And a lot of these whole red pill and people who are like these young boys that are being celibate, it's not worth the pain. The pushing ain't worth the pain, to say it politely. It's not worth the push. Is that, you can say that on air.
No, you can say anything. You can
I'm
say
just saying, when I look at overall, if I'm somebody that's like, what are you going to offer in this situation? If I already have children, there's no appeal. And I'm sorry to say that, but I'm saying as a man that's middle-aged, when I look at somebody say, hey, Aaron, people said to me recently, there's somebody I want you to meet. You know what I said? No, thank you. Because the upside is maybe there's a romantic connection and some giddy friendship. The downside is they take the other 50% of my stuff that's left. And if there's what are we doing here? Like, well, I have no desire. I'm gonna say this before I even get famous. Because people saw us on the pictures and I was working on the set, right, for the Abbott Elementary. Don't DM me. I don't want no groupie love. I'm not chasing no clout. I'll wait for the robots to come out. Like, I'm fine. Like, at this point, leave me be, bro. The downside is so dramatic. And I'm listening to what y'all saying, these people, the Tiger Woods, the Futures, you name me somebody, and I could tell you where they met a woman and their life trajectory went somewhere else. And the only consolation is they have children and the children are priceless.
That's unfortunate because y'all were married. And listen, I just want to say this right now. To Stacey Danielle McCann, my co-parenter, we haven't been together in years. We still share a bank account. And I've never been pressed on anything. In actuality, I still organize the bills and we are not romantic. We are cool. So I understand how much I need to value.
Oh yeah. Well, you better.
That we have.
No, but shouts out to all the women doing that. I know some women listening that are like, I could have put him on child support. I should have put. So to y'all, I'm not talking about y'all at all, right? Like there are a lot of women out there that understand this is a game that's destroying families and it's not trying to do a man-woman thing and they're just trying to get all the money they can. So I understand that. So there's a lot of people out there who get the game and they're like, despite the fact we don't get along, we ain't gonna let the man play us and take all our money. So I saw somebody say PTSD. You're right. Y'all right. I'm being real. Like,
but he's not the only one. You guys have sat here and listened to Jay Black, and that was literally probably almost 25 years ago that he went through these situations.
And he clearly has PTSD.
And he still has PTSD. He found love. He's with a woman who them two are superhero combo.
But his head's still on swivel.
And it's still at any moment.
Get your hand out my pocket.
I always want Jay on the show, but if Jay was here right now, he'd be unbearable. Like when he when he heard Aaron's story, I would literally have to just take my box out because it would just be like, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Back in 1998, when he still remembers the judge. He remembers what the judge said. He remembers the judge. Listen, I know it so clearly. I can tell you some of the story. The judge, he said, Judge, if I am told to pay this, how am I supposed to get to work because I can't afford my car? Take the bus. The judge said you can take the bus or the train.
Yeah, they try to take your license. First thing they do.
So I just thank God that I've never. All right, so you're going through a lot. Like my court situation. My court situation has to do with mess ups I've had. I can't even imagine what it's like going to court. First of all, going to court for anything. They tried to get me to be for jury selection.
Oh yeah. I be nervous to that too. I be scared
they're gonna get
me.
Just going there.
I be scared somebody gonna look, hear my name, and be like, "Wait a minute," and then just take me in the back. I want to do my duty, but I'm still on my black man head swivel, Joe.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Matter of fact, when I went there, it was a 2-day. We went one day, didn't have to go back, and then they finally brought me up to question me, and I knew I was out because the question. And I'm not making this up to be funny. This is actually what happened. They said, "Do you trust the police?" And in my mind, I said, "Oh, I'm out of here." I said, "I know I'm out." I said,
"No."
I said, "I'm good." That's all I said.
Hell no.
I said, and I I'm on stage a little bit. I do a little bit on stage. I did the dramatic pause. I ain't gonna lie. I look this way.
Have you considered it?
I said, no.
No. But the Fifth Amendment and the whole Miranda rights thing, you figured they're not saying you should trust them. If somebody's going to say that what you say can and will, like I'm going to use
against you.
If I tell you, hey Mike, if you say something to me, I'm a snitch and I'm gonna use it against you. Do you trust me? Like, wait, that's an oxymoron right there. You telling me you're going to work against me and then ask me if I trust you. Nobody should trust anybody that says whatever you say, anything you say can and will. I'm guaranteeing that I'm going to work against your best interest and I'm going to use what you say against you. And then you're going to follow up with a question like, do you trust them? Like that kind of thing frustrates me because, the logic in it is like, oh, this is all a game. Then why would you even ask that?
Yeah, it is a game. There
is no logic.
There is no logic. And if I asked any of you that question and I said, listen, whatever if I asked you a question, and I said, just between us, we were outside in front of the Wawa, right? We had just got a cup of coffee. I said, yo, Aaron, I'm gonna ask you this question, but anything you say can and will be held against you. You would take it as I'm telling you, don't answer.
Yeah. That's the
I'm telling you. I'm like, whatever you say, I do the opposite. Whatever you say is not just between us. I'm gonna ask you this question. Whatever, how everybody says it's just between us. No, I'm telling you, this is not between us.
I'm telling the world.
I'm telling everybody when you answer this question.
I'm recording that. You're on live stream, right?
You're on live. So.
People trying to tell you. What's that, Kevin Hart joint? Hey, Mike, hey, you with your girl? You're on speaker.
Yeah, you're on speaker. Don't
say nothing. No, I appreciate when people do that. They're like, hey, what's up, Smith? You're on speaker.
I tell everybody who knows me, when you call me, tell me if you're on speaker. And I only got a few people who call me like that. Just tell me you on speaker. Because don't make me ask you if you're on speaker, because then I look crazy. Because then everybody like, what's wrong with him? Why you gotta know you're on speaker? Because the first thing I say is, am I on speaker? Because now you feel like you just guilted yourself out.
I'm offended when people be on speaker and don't tell me.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can I ask y'all a question? Do y'all see people walking around with people on speaker?
Yes.
In the store, talking to people? That drives me crazy.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear your conversation.
I'm now one of those people because my phone ain't acting right.
Oh damn!
We need a
fundraiser for you.
I have because my phone is fine, but that's a contradiction. Your phone ain't fine if you have to use speaker. But everything else is perfect, and I don't feel like, dog, a phone is I don't get how we just get phones all willy nilly and they're $1,200. But anyway, that's not the point. So now
that's how you know what age you are.
Yeah,
I learned that too. Cause I don't care, and I'll wait till I have to, and all my apps won't update, and then I'll finally, since my camera's cracked and my apps won't download, then I'll be like, I'll go there. But everybody else like, oh, a new phone is out, and I know it's a generational difference.
All right, so let the tax guy enter a conversation. Both of you are business owners. Your phone is a tax write-off. It's an asset.
Oh, I didn't do that. I should see. I'm late. I gotta get that. Well, it's coming up again, right? We almost to the deadline. So this year coming up, I'm gonna remember that one. I'm about to give me a new phone, Mike.
And I ain't gonna lie. I know I annoy people, but the one thing I do is if I'm walking in somewhere public, I'm like, yo, give me a minute. I'm gonna keep you on speakerphone, but I'm about to walk in. I don't continue the conversation. I said, just give me a minute or I'm gonna call you back. Now I am an asshole. There is a part of me. I'm a better person than I was 15 years ago, but I work with people every day. And if you're gonna be on speaker and you catch me in the right mood and I'm doing something for you, I'm doing a service for you. If I answer a question that person asked on that speaker, don't blow up at me because I will get involved in your conversation because I was in that type of mood. Like I will say something. I'll be like, no, you're right. I'll do that since you want to play. And listen,
they brought you in the conversation.
And listen, people, I hate to say this. I'm going to say this between us. It's always fucking us. It's always fucking us.
Yeah, I never seen an Asian person walking around on speakerphone all loud in the Walmart. I never, like, I just thought about it. Well, no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I've never seen an Asian person with an earbud. What are you talking about? Like, we will walk in outside voice. We will walk in outside voice. Full outside voice with N-words getting dropped. And I'm like, you see all these white folks in here. Why are we doing this? I don't even know if we have time. Because I've been talking about this for 2 days now. And I've been trying to get somebody who is truly knowledgeable and truly entrenched in a fraternity. And I know you take pride. And I couldn't get Mo on here. I wanted you on here anyway. But we don't have enough time to get in that subject, right? Because I want you to be able to tell us, because I know you've heard with the Caleb Wilson situation, what is going on with his tragic death. I don't know if you want to get into it. If you don't want to talk about it, that's fine.
Well, I don't know. I heard that the young man died in what they labeled a hazing incident. That they were investigating it, but I didn't know much more than that.
All right, so what?
It's tragic.
So while you're here, we won't because I'll give you this. I'll let you see this. This is something that happened at a committee meeting, and I want to play it for you. And I started to show off with this because this to me just got me in a place where I was just like, wow. I said, I'm not shocked anymore. Like I'm not shocked about this stuff anymore. But let me see. That's that one. That one's that one. That was that one. And this is the one that we played earlier. And you tell me your comment.
Mr. Chairman, have unanimous consent request.
Proceed.
I'd like to seek unanimous consent to enter into the record this article, and I'll do this as a survivor of sexual violence myself. This is from Courts, March 2018.
Without objection, so ordered.
Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born
Without objection, so ordered. We've put it in the record.
I haven't entered it.
You have what?
Mr. Chair, can I have several articles. I need to enter them. Let me just go ahead with what the articles are. What they speak to.
What's the next article?
Let me proceed. Data from Texas shows that U.S.-born Americans commit more rape and murder than immigrants.
Listen, this trend of you all trying to get thrown out of committee so you can get on MSNBC is going to end. We're not going to put up with it.
This is my procedural right as a member of this committee.
You can go with Mr. Frost and Mr. Green.
I'm reclaiming my time.
That's what you want. No. Ms. Presley, I have been very accommodating to you. Mr. Subrignon,
and I take particular umbrage as a survivor of sexual violence. I will insert into the record. This is my right. Thank you.
No. It is Mr. Subrignon.
Mr. Chair?
No, you know the process of unanimous consent. You are not recognized.
I have several articles to enter into the record.
Mr. Subrignon, if you don't go, we're going to recognize Mr. Timmons.
So your first reaction when you see something like that? Because that just happened after the State of the Union.
Recent righteous revolution of ratchetness in terms of Brother Al Green standing up at the address that the president gave, and Jasmine Crockett saying that he was that the president being Putin's hoe. I've been calling for that since the last election. Basically, taking a different approach than the they go high, they go low, we go high situation. There's a place for civil disobedience. There's a place for righteous indignation. There's a place for resistance. Even in the Constitution, the whole nature of diversifying the powers from the different branches is to escape tyranny and somebody getting beside themselves. And we have the right not only to bear arms, but to create a well-regulated militia to go ahead and spin the block if somebody starts acting out of line and out of order. So when people start not abiding by their laws and trying to use the law, right, to misinterpret it and distort it in a way to deny you your human, God-given or constitutional rights, there is a proper response. I think that Dr. King said it this way. He said there's some things we should be maladjusted to. There's some things we should accept, right? So I think we're reaching a point, with a lot of this of these official proceedings and processes where if somebody's not, even with a police officer, if the police officer is out of bounds, you have the right to defend yourself. People don't talk about that a lot. But no, you can't just come and grab me and punch all my teeth out and stand over me and ground it. So if I get the best of you in that situation, I take you out. I'm justified. Maybe I might not win in court, but there are God-given and constitutional rights that people need to understand. So if somebody's talking and you haven't went through these parliamentary procedures in terms of Robert's Rules of Order and everything else, then you can't just bang the gavel and make a decision to shut people up and shut people down or kick people out. Even in these public meetings, I see they're trying to make people sign in the public meetings or not let them sit in certain seats when this whole notion of being public. So I think it is time for people to understand we need to turn it up a little bit and to not just sit idly by while people distort the processes of the law and otherwise to manipulate and oppress us.
Now, did you watch the State of the Union, whatever they call it?
He was talking for like a couple hours or something. I did the cliff notes, I watched the highlights, I did the Stephen A. Smith joint.
So I don't have the same energy now but yesterday when I came on here and today somewhat, but I just don't have the same energy for it. I was pissed because when Congressman Al Green stood up, when he started, I'm watching it because I wanted to be informed. I wanted to be able to talk about it. I was like, okay, I'm here for this. I'm here.
Yeah, I saw that clip.
Right, so I'm here. So I'm watching it in live time. I said, I'm okay. All right, now this is what we're gonna do. We're going to make this as uncomfortable as possible for this entire situation. The same way you made it uncomfortable when you called President Obama a liar. You lied. We're going. So after he is removed, I'm like, okay.
Next.
I'm like, okay, what we doing? And they start putting signs up.
Yeah, Charlamagne said the silent auction.
I call it Dancing with the Stars. Judging Dancing
ping pong
with the
paddles
Stars.
and all that.
Elon steals. And their reaction pissed me off more than anything that Donald Trump said. Because my feelings are, and I said this earlier, so I'm repeating myself, everybody. I apologize. If you're telling me that this is the moment that we may never recover from, this is the administration we may never recover from, then you have to show me that if you can't disrupt a fucking speech, how are you going to disrupt their plan? Now, that may be very basic. But if you want to show everybody who's scared to death, because there's one thing this country can do is scare the shit out of people. They can get us to take shots when they scare the hell. I took it. I took the vaccine. But to sit there, and now to Jasmine Crockett's defense, she did leave. I didn't know she left. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she talked the way she should have talked, at least after.
Yeah, afterwards. But if everybody... You could, since you were acting like third grade obedient students who just saw their classmate removed, and you hushed up because you got scared of the consequences, then you could have been obedient and obediently, file by file, just like a third grade class, you could have made your way out. And you could have made your way out.
That's a good point. Yep.
Aisle by aisle, you could have made your way out, and you could have met the reporters out there, and you could have started the ruckus. And I said this earlier. In entertainment, if CNN knows they can go live to ruckus that's happening, that has never happened before. Now they got to make a choice. They either got to do that or do a split screen. And what's that do? That takes away from the lies and the message that's being... That was what angered me. I don't know when we're really going to understand how disruptive we have to be. I'm for what I'm for being within the law. But what were y'all scared of?
Yeah, they could have walked out to the lobby. You're right. That's a great suggestion. That orderly, and yeah, they could have
Orderly disorder.
Yeah, in real time. Good trouble. That would have been That would have been a great idea.
It just worries me because I go like, y'all not gonna stop them.
Well, people want to stay there. People want their jobs. People want to be there for the next election. People want to keep getting the donors and all and people want to be liked. That's another one. Like that whole Scarface scene with the restaurant and the bad guy, that's real. A lot of people are afraid. I've been escorted out of an assembly in high school. Anybody from my hometown will tell you 30 years later, they remember when I stood up in the middle of the assembly and I started calling this guy a sellout and a demigod because he wanted to do this All Lives Matter Black History Month protest right after Rodney King was beat up and we was about to snap on the world. And I couldn't take it no more. One person got ushered out. And the next thing I did was stand up, just like you said. And I've been there where people didn't stand up. They called the police and everything. People was fighting teachers. It went down in my school because I stood up, and I know the feeling of looking back and being like, oh, so y'all not really gonna. Same thing happened just recently. When I'm leaving in June, they offered me 6 figures in the summertime. I turned it down. I wanted to push for a class action and get everybody involved. Some people did get on board. There might be a civil situation, but I turned down over $100,000, thinking I'm for the people trying to ride out for the community. A lot of people, I thought, even people that said I'm down, turned around and was like, every job I've ever had, somebody talked about quitting every day, and they're still there to this day, even jobs I had in high school. There's always somebody that's right at the water cooler talking revolutionary with you, but the second you actually approach the boss or speak up in a meeting, they go hush on you. Sometimes they want your position. But I'm just saying, I know that the dominant narrative is I want to talk just enough to not have my position affected. And that's what most people are doing. Most people ain't really crashing out here. But I'm a crash out, so I say, I'm leaving in June. Next job, life goes on. But I always think, because my brother passed in June last year, right?
Oh my God, I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's life. But the thing, I used to work. I served as a deacon, so at one point I was going to funerals like once or twice a week. And I was doing last rites. So I'm going to these elderly people, and they're always talking about, what matters. They never talk about their money. They never talk about promotion. It was like, my childhood friends. I had a good wife. I love my kids. I should have did more with my health. I should have spent more attention to my spiritual life. I'm hearing like a same top 5 from everybody that's like 75 to 105. And I'm like 20 something years old at the time. So I'm like, you know what? In the end, I know what matters. I got a whole education on what really matters in the end. So every time I walk by that casket and I touch the body and I know that whatever I knew was not still there, I'm like, when it's all said and done, I'm doing the Tupac. I'm like, yay, like I'm just gonna write the story. I want people to say, yeah, he stood up in that moment. Yep, everybody else was cowardly. Yeah. Matter of fact, he was one of the best professors at Temple, and he don't even work there no more because they try to play with him. Yep. Because when it's all said and done, the example I'm gonna leave for my kids and my people is you gotta make sure you stand for something. I'm not going to, and I honestly, every girl I didn't get with when I went to the reunion, I was happy it didn't work out. Dodged the damn bullet, right? Every job I got fired from led me to the job I got now. So if I was still crying about those jobs, I would never be here. Right. I was just working on the set of Abbott Elementary, being the stand-in for the board, Everybody Hates Chris. I thought to myself, if they asked me if I had 3 days available, I probably would have had to say no, because I probably would have had class. So I wouldn't even have been able to do something that was like a dream come true, just being around them people. Who knows what's coming next? Like on some real trust in God, not just like, I'm trusting. No, I believe that everything's supposed to be happening the way it's supposed to be happening. And if I'm not comfortable there, if I'm not being appreciated there, then that's just a message and a signal. And I would love to, and honestly, if I ever run, you just know I'm probably going to be a one-term whatever.
Right.
City council. I'm going to get in there and smile and do the whole Councilman Tate from Power, Lorenz Tate role. And I'm going to get my position. And I'm going to be Harold Washington and, mixed with Thomas Sankara and Mandela. I'm going to just go in and rearrange all the money, get everybody mad, and hopefully they don't kill me. But I doubt I'll get elected again because I feel like most Black people want to have this longevity and they should look to have an impact. They should look to have a lasting impact instead of career longevity.
I do, and I haven't been able to do the whole portion of what I wrote. And I started it and it worked. I've done it on stage. I'm like, the problem is that what we don't admit to each other, we don't admit to us. We're a bunch of followers.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And I can prove to you that we're a bunch of followers, and just simple stuff, just simple stuff. Like years ago, and I always do this joke with people who are like over 35 or 40, over 40. I go, there was a time when I was watching TV, The Price is Right, just to prove that we're a bunch of followers. I was watching Price is Right with my grandmother who barely spoke English. We watched it every day, right? And she'd get excited when a Cadillac, even when it wasn't a Cadillac, she claimed it was a Cadillac. It was a Buick, but she was like, a new car, Cadillac. It was always a Cadillac, right? It was always a Cadillac. But this thing came out called wall-to-wall carpeting. You had to have wall-to-wall carpeting. Like all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I don't know when it happened. I don't know who started it. It went from just throw rugs to wall carpeting. And everybody, including my mom, wanted wall-to-wall carpeting. And it lasted like that for like maybe a decade. Then somebody decided hardwood floors were back in. And I remember my mom asking my dad, we need hardwood floors. And my dad said, we fucking have hardwood floors. They're under the fucking wall-to-wall carpeting.
We hardwood floors. We got the hardwood floors on top of the carpet. Oh man!
But that is just like we are so comfortable following. Like people just like to follow to follow things because it makes people feel a part of stuff. And then when
that's because people are sheep. I mean, let's take it a step further. They're not followers. They're sheep. They don't have their own minds. They don't have their own ideas. They just want to follow after what it is. Because here's the real thing: most people are lazy, and most people are selfish. They only care about themselves. Largely speaking.
And you know what's scary is that the indoctrination that they have is that I remember my independent thinking time. I even say it in radio. When I started in radio, I remember the independent thinker I was on what to do to make a successful show. But slowly but surely, they didn't want that because they couldn't program that, and they can't copy that.
And you can't sell ads. Most importantly, you can't sell ads for it.
And the crazy part, but you know what's funny about that? They could sell ads because the ratings were bigger. But it made them uncomfortable that they couldn't write down a formula on what he does. They couldn't write down, you know the reason why he wins? Because of A, B. They can't explain me having him on the show.
They couldn't predictably quantify it. They couldn't put it into an algorithm. They couldn't be comfortable with explain, like Mike is saying, that's exactly what it is. Because it wasn't the popularity, it was the predictability that they wanted. They wanted popularity and predictability.
They wanted that. So if you tried to break down the show and why I was successful, and Dr. Aaron at the time, he was fearless to me. If they told me explain him, I'd be at a loss. I'd be like, he brings something to the show that I've never seen before.
One word, genius.
Yeah, like he can. If we want to go here, he goes there. If we want to take it here, we take it there. And whichever way we take it, if we want to joke, he's going to enhance my joke. I don't know what else to do. Go find another one. I don't know. Go find another one.
We'll make another hole.
But I see people, and you know what I think depresses me is that I know I'm one of the robots when I'm not on here and when I'm not on when I'm not doing shows. I know I feel the roboticness in me when I'm going to this job. And I watch everybody walk in and everybody walk out. And I'm like, God, this is a really bad movie.
The Truman Show.
It's the Truman Show. You people are walking in here and walking out and that follower thing. And I'm like, but people like you, and I always commend you, Eric, people like you and come on. What you do with your taxes, the fact that you show people, just you in general, but I love the fact that you show people that you put it out there. I'm not trying to help you get over. I'm not trying to help you cut. You know how hard it is to tell somebody we're going to have to do the long form of anything?
Well, Mike, that's because I'm true to who I am. I'm rooted in my blackness. I love my people. And so if you look at any historical thing, Black people always suffer the worst. And so I'm not going to promote Black people going to jail. Full stop, period. And what do we see? PPP loans. Everybody got jammed up. They're still getting locked up. I didn't want nothing to do with that because you knew what was coming. The writing's on the wall.
No, I was on a group text. I know we went off the reels here, but I don't care. I was on a group text of comedians on that were all going to do the PPP loans. And I was on it, and it was about 15 of them. And they were like, and there was one person they were going to. There was one person that was handling everybody's PPP loan. And God, let me tell you something. There's certain parts of my drinking that I think God said allowed me to drink because he knew my irresponsible self would not follow through. Because I was like, I remember I had some Tito's with me, and I was on a group text, and I was watching TV, and everybody was like, yo, so-and-so just got this, and that. And all you got to do, the setup is, people, the last words that get you in trouble is all you got to do. When anybody says all you got to do.
All the time you going to serve.
All the time you're going to serve 5 years from now. All the time you're getting into it. But I didn't. And I didn't just because I wanted to drink. I didn't follow through. Like, they sent me stuff, and I was like, I never checked the email. I was like, yeah, take me off this group chat, and did what I was doing.
So God used Tito's to save your life.
No, Tito's got me out of relationships, yo. Tito's got me out of relationships that if I had kept drinking, I'd still be in. Like, and I know, like, trust me, I wish I didn't, that wasn't the case. It got me out of situations. It made me lose jobs. God is funny. He made me lose jobs. Not he made me, but liquor and my addiction made me lose jobs that if I hadn't lost that job, I probably would have died in Dallas. Because of how easy the money was and how easy the money was coming and how I could be as irresponsible as I wanted to, because at the end of the day, every 2 weeks, a check was coming in that was clearing all my fuck ups.
Wow.
Even when
you need to destroy yourself.
Even when I got locked up, you know why it didn't really affect me the way it should have affected me? Because I paid my way out. So I was out before everybody else. Everybody else was calling. People telling me, do you want a bail bondsman? I said, why do I want a bail bondsman? Just get me to an ATM. And it was literally an ATM there. The only dilemma I had was, if I do 2 different transactions, will it add up to enough? Will the ATM let me take it out? And that was the reason why it didn't really affect me, because I was out. Wilding out. Anyway, I didn't mean to bore y'all with that. But before we get out of here.
On the Matrix point, I just want to say one thing.
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
Because there's a famous quote by Dick Gregory, because I know that Brother Kamar was talking about, the Truman Show and all that, the whole Matrix. And there's that movie Rowdy Piper was in, They Live, right? With the glasses. He could see the obey sign and all that, and people.
Yeah.
So Dick Gregory used to call them the magic glasses. When you talk about going to your job and feeling Matrix, he said there's 3 rules to the magic glasses. He said once you put them on, rule 1 is once you put them on, you can never take them off. Yep. Rule number 2 is after you put them on, you can never see things the way that your tribe says they're supposed to be. You can only see things the way that they truly are. And this is the worst one. This is the hardest one. Rule number 3, you can never force anybody else to wear.
You can never force anybody else to wear.
So you just stuck. You always going to see the truth. You can't go back to the Matrix like the pills with Neo, right? And when he said that, I was like, that's like you said, every time you go from entertainment to 9 to 5, you feel it. It's a real significant spiritual shift, and you are seeing things. You're like, yo, we could be having fun right now. We don't have to only enjoy ourselves for 30 minutes and then get back to work. But some people are so locked into that, they really believe, one day I'll have fun when I'm 59 and I'll go on vacation. And until then, I'll have fun in 5 months for a week and a half on my vacation time. And you're just looking like, we used to have fun every day.
Every day. And
I gotta watch that.
Yeah, I saw that. And when I tell you, I think that's why I have to pray so hard in the morning time, and I have to meditate so hard in the morning time, because I know this is temporary, but I also know you can't take the glasses off, because I know what a waste of these minutes that I'm giving up right now.
Exchanging your time for money. That's the number one thing.
And that transaction, because I sit there when people ask me, like, they're like, hey, you want to learn this? You want to learn this? I'm like, no, I could, but I'm good. I said, I don't need any extra responsibility here, and they're like, why? And I said, because I don't care.
I'm not trying to stay. I'm trying to get free.
Do you understand? Y'all want me to learn new things here when what I'm learning out here is telling me this, not to care about this. And they'll just be like, well, I mean, We need your help. No, you don't need my help. Because when we're on this, I'm telling you, you know what's going to piss me off? I'm going to try and what's going to piss me off is when I calculated the hours. I'm not even going to tell you the hours that I spent at this place. That was the most depressing day ever. When I looked at my check stubs and I started going through, there's nothing in life I do more than this.
Wow.
I had a check stub with 105 hours. How?
2 weeks overtime.
2 weeks. I said, what? Man, we should have ended this. We should have ended this with Kendrick and Drake. And we should have had some fun. Anyway, real quick. Where do you put Kendrick in your historical, mystical top 5 list? You ain't got to give me, where do you put him? And I'm coming to you next.
Poised to be the most consequential, poised to be the most decorated, poised to be is the key term. Poised to be the greatest of all time. Poised to be. And that only happens because other people did what they did. Like, you don't get a Jordan without a Dr. J, a Magic, and all that for somebody to have an amalgamation. Like, so let's be clear. Like, I'm not. Some of it's just when you were born, right? So of course, Rakim's not doing the Super Bowl because of where rap was at the time. Like, so it's not an insult or a slight to anybody that came before. But when the moment meets the expertise, and I think we needed mumble rap, we needed drill rap, we needed to set the stage for a savior to emerge from that, murky dust and that phoenix to rise where nobody else, we need a hero who's going to save us, Batman type of moment, that all the death and the Young Thug getting arrested and the RICO charges and the Little Durks and the death of, Juice WRLD and Mac Miller, like we needed all that to happen to set the scene for Kendrick to emerge and to rise higher than any art. So everything it was a perfect storm. And right now, Pulitzer Prize, arguably the most consequential and most effective and most popular diss record of all times. It's a legitimate argument to say the greatest diss record of all times. Yeah. So when we look at the numbers, when we look at the impact, when we look at the messaging, even the longevity, they got a movie coming out, we got another album coming out. This train is not stopping whatsoever. The SZA concert that he's doing is selling out like crazy in minutes. This has never been done. We're in totally new territory. And I think the hardest part for people, of a previous generation like myself is to recognize that it's a new day and we should hope that they push it forward. We shouldn't be the Bill Russells mad at these athletes for getting more than we got, in a year than we got in 10. We need to say, yes, Jay-Z had a hell of a run. I love the Hangar Tour, 6 summers. Yes, I love the Tupac sold 75 million records, blah, blah, blah. I love all that. But I'm really happy that hip hop is still taking it further and still moving, in a direction that's making it bigger and better. And it's not losing its essence when it comes to Kendrick. And I'm one of the biggest Drake haters, the first person in the world to have a viral verse totally about Drake, no subliminal, named him, not Canada Dry, no Common. I did that. So I am very happy that 10 years later, I could say, I told y'all. And I think it was Funkmaster Flex who said that Blackberry freestyle was ghostwritten. He said they practiced that freestyle in the room before he got on the mic and did it a couple times. So he pulls out the Blackberry like a prop, as though he's like, reading from it to make it look like it's more authentic. He says Weezy in the verse twice. And I always said, nobody's ever talked about this. When Rapper's Delight came out and Cass was saying they took my rhymes, right? And the guys, they had his rhyme book. They say if you listen to Rapper's Delight, they spell my name, the C-A-S, right? So if you listen to Drake on the Blackberry freestyle, at the end of the freestyle, he's like, Weezy F baby, and please say the Weezy. And I kept thinking, why would he write? Why would he write? I said, I've heard this before. This happened before, where somebody was so caught up in somebody else's lyrics that they just read them how they were written and never thought to say, you didn't write that. Then Funkmaster Flex said, we practiced it in the room. He already knew it. He came in there and acted like, well, let me get this, Flex, let me get this. The whole career, this is what nobody wants to admit. Everybody's like, yeah, some of the ghostwriting. Yeah, some of this, yeah, best I ever had. Oh yeah, Mob Ties, yeah, it's all ghostwritten. The whole thing. This is what the majority of people who are not still Drake fans don't want to admit. Malibu's Most Wanted is what Kendrick said. This is CB4, and nobody wants to admit I fell for it. I loved it. It was catchy. It was convincing. He was a totally manufactured Manchurian Candidate style artist. Nothing's authentic. Now when they look, they're like, oh, he's acting. All that twisting his lip, like Fabulous or AZ, the putting the barrettes in his hair and all this twisting his fingers. Then they look back at all these old footages of Degrassi and how goofy he was and how his face looked totally different and his body looked totally different. And he had no beard. And you're like, wait, what is real? Right? You lied about your history. You lied about religious views. You lied about your surgery. Like, people are going to go back 10 years later and look at Kendrick lyrics and be like, wow, that was true. Because he didn't have a six-pack. He didn't have a beard. He didn't have a square jaw. Like, what his nose looked like? Wait, you're like Michael Jackson up here. The only difference is you don't have the same talent. The only talent he has is acting, and he's able to make other people's songs sound better when he does them. That's his gift. He's a genius at that. He's a master of that. A master of illusion, like Edward Bernays, the father of PR. He's able to trick people very well, but the average rap fan never wanted to admit. When I saw that Sprite ad where it was Rakim, it was Biggie, and then it was Drake on the billboard, and it was talking about lyrics. I said, "Oh no!" That's when I snapped. That's when I started going hard because I was like Neek and Flex were saying he's one of the best. They found out that he had ghostwriters, and the biggest fans became the biggest ops. I was one of Drake's biggest fans, and I love hip hop. And you can't win a rap battle with a ghost written.
Yeah, that can't. Kamari, what your position on Kendrick and the mystical or mythical top 5?
I agree with everything that Aaron said. I can't put him in my top 5, top 10 right now. However, the boy's special. He's special, and he's what hip hop needs right now. And I'm one of these guys that says hip hop isn't dead. A lot of the old heads are like, hip hop's dead. No, hip hop's not dead. You just got lazy and you don't want to look for it no more. But hip hop was always underground. It was always supposed to be underground. And so here in Philly, Lady B, Sundays, we had the no rap work day, right? I come from that era. So I'm used to looking for my hip hop. It got mainstream for a while. People got lazy. But I don't want to find my hip hop on Main Street, especially now with all these devices. So
yeah,
again, the whole Quentin Miller thing, Drake's ghostwriter, that's factual. Who else? I don't know.
There's a guy who wrote more. There's a guy who's still in the camp that's got more credits than Quentin Miller and everybody else put together. And the only reason why he's not talking is because the gravy train is still rolling.
Correct.
Gravy train is still rolling. Yeah.
When this is gonna be an interesting point. When the OVO gravy train stops rolling and there's no more payouts and everybody's gonna benefit more from talking than they are from going along with what's going on, that's when we're gonna get Think Diddy. Diddy. Yep. When everybody was getting paid and all the hits were being made, nobody was really talking. Once it becomes more advantageous for me to tell the truth about you than to keep your secrets, all hell is going to break loose. And there is an OVO levy that is set to break that people have no idea what's going to happen. The last thing I want to say is there's something called a concept I have called a crown album. For our generation, think Long Live the King. You can even think America's Most Wanted. You can think All Eyes on Me. You can even think Hip Hop is Dead or Stillmatic. When somebody emerges and says, I am the king, they're letting it be known. What Jay-Z tried to do with City is Mine, but wasn't able to do till later, coming in and saying, I am the heir apparent, I am at the top of the hill. GNX didn't do that. That wasn't his goal with that album. Kendrick needs to do, whether it's double album energy, Kendrick needs to step up and say definitively, this is mine and I am the king of this. And there's moments Ice Cube was the best lyricist. There's moments where, Big Daddy Kane was the best. There's a moment where Ja Rule for a lot of people. There's a moment where DMX dropped 2 albums in a year. He let it be known, right? I'm running this. This is me. I'm the king right now, no matter what happened before or after. KRS-One used to break it down and explain it, right? Kings lose crown. I think Kendrick
intelligent.
Have a king of rap. Shout out Run DMC, right? He needs to have a king of rap moment. Not a humble, not they said it about me, it's okay. I think hip hop demands for you, even if we give you all your flowers and say you're the best, that's why J. Cole's where he's at now. You have to, at some point, beat your chest in the LL Cool J braggadocious I'm bad way and be like, yes, I heard y'all. I knew that it was my time. This is my moment. I am the king. And when Kendrick puts that project out, I think that's going to shift the narrative. But if he just keeps putting out creative conceptual projects, it's always going to be a debatable conversation.
See, and now I'll just close it in this. I don't have a debate with him anymore. And when you have me at 54 years old searching out features that you did, and you have me searching out the feature you did with Busta Rhymes, and I go, oh shit, you did that?
Jackson, yeah.
I said, you did that?
Listen to Good Kid, Mad City. That's my favorite project from Kendrick.
I mean, Mr. Morale is my favorite. And I'm not saying I disagree with anything Aaron said. Mr. Morale is my favorite. When you go back to understanding that you are creating art, when you go back to, and I love hip hop. My career wouldn't be here. Comedy, I wouldn't know how to hold a microphone without hip hop. I wouldn't know how to be on stage without hip hop. I wouldn't have had radio jobs without hip hop. But when it comes to art, when you place something out there that you know there are going to be people who don't understand it, but you put it out there anyway, that's when I go like, you, my friend, will always be in my number one slot. Because you don't care that you know they won't get it. But there's a chance they will at some point, but they won't right now.
Q-tip line. I really don't mind if it's over your head because the job of resurrectors is to wake up the dead. We got the jet like that. I remember when he said that back in the day.
When I first heard De La Soul, Potholes in My Lawn, I did not know what I was listening to.
I had no idea. I knew every word and didn't know what I was talking about.
I did not know when that beat came on. I didn't know. I had no clue what I was listening to. I don't know what they mean by this. I don't know if this is not a Sucker MC's beat. They're not rapping the way other rappers rap. So when Kendrick, and then I'll say this about Kendrick, and this is why I do. When I open up on stage, I said, I am 54 years old. I am not here to shit on 20-year-olds. I'm going to let y'all old cats know I'm not here. That is not my purpose. When I see 20-year-olds on TikTok dissecting lyrics, it makes me so happy.
Correct.
That they are literally going, what he meant by this and what he meant by that. Because I have apologized because there's a lot of nonsense that I co-signed on radio. There's a lot of nonsense I co-signed. There was a lot of dope stuff. You know, we always have the memory of we're always going to be Jay-Z and we're always going to say Nas and we're always going to say there was a lot of nonsense that I'm not proud of co-signing. And everybody in the 80s and 90s wants to make you believe that every song was Public Enemy, every song was X-Clan, and every song was KRS-One. Listen,
it was not.
There was Crew, Money, Cash, Hoes, all that was good.
There was a lot. But Kendrick is my number one. Thank you, Aaron. Hopefully we can have you back next week. Kamari, hopefully we can have you back next week. I got to run out of here and get back to the grind. Thank y'all for everybody who supports the show. Love me for who I am, not who you want me to be, because I can never be that. Understand there's only one thing in life that's guaranteed. It will end. So enjoy every minute, every second. You fight for everything in your life. You fight for deals. You fight for hookups. Fight for your happiness. Never let anyone or anything take it from you. From Michael Sean, Kamari, Financial Rebel, Aaron Smith, Dr. Aaron Smith, Sexy Mo, J Black, C Chung. We are gone.
Michael Sean and the Takeover Legends, where the truth hurts, but also